Hi there. Today we are going to be talking about addressing stress and burnout issues from a logosynthesis perspective. And my guest is Meike Schleicher, and she's joining me from Mainz, Germany. And as a life and human design coach, she supports clients to dissolve stress and blockages so that they can enjoy life more fully. In 2021, after 12 years, Meike gave up her job in marketing as a brand manager and executive, and since then, she has been working as an independent coach. She has been using a combination of systemic work, human design, and energetic work, especially logosynthesis. Her mission is to accompany you in living your true self and creating a life that suits you and your needs, a meaningful and happy life. Thank you for joining me, Meike.
Oh, thank you, Katie, for the introduction and also that I can be here. Thank you so much.
So I'm thinking to start, can you tell us how you were introduced to logosynthesis and then why you decided to train in this model?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've been working on personal development for years, trying out several methods, but I kept coming to a similar point, especially also in my partnership, where I have situations I couldn't react in a lovingly way, and it was really like an automatism, and I could not overcome this. And then a friend of mine told me about logosynthesis. And first of all, I was really skeptical because I mean, you speak three sentences and then everything is fine. Yeah, for sure. But I was so curious and I tried it out with the coach. And yeah, from the first session on, I was a really, really big fan of the logosynthesis. And I mean, it's so powerful and also so how can you say it, yeah, magical. It's really magical for me. I mean, you speak those sentences and you have other thoughts, you feel differently, and I could react in another way with my partner. So for me it was, yeah, it's really, yeah, I was a big fan. And then I started my systemic coaching training, and I did a lot of coachings, and I was always sitting there and thinking about what would be when I could now use log synthesis, because my experience was that it's going so much more easier, deeper, and you get easier to the real point. And that was then the point where I decided that I also do the logosynthesis training to empower other people to be more, yeah, how can you say, more impactful also in my coachings. And yeah, that's why I also did the practitioner training and also the instructor, so that I can also help others to help themselves with self-coaching. And that's also what I really love with the logosynthesis, because it's, yeah, this tool and this model gives you the chance to do the self-coaching, so you're not only dependent on a coach or something. You can deal with your daily life.
Yeah, and that's so empowering, isn't it? That it's something that we can actually learn to use quite easily to do it on issues. Because sometimes there's issues that we don't necessarily want to bring forward, that we're not so comfortable bringing forward. And then there's other things that just kind of pop up in our everyday life that we can quite quickly resolve, that we don't even need to go to seek out support from a coach with. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, and I really love it.
Yeah.
And mm?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, now it is really like teeth brushing, I mean, yeah, first at the beginning, yeah, you have to train it, but yeah, and now I really do it daily, and I go for a walk and do a lot of synthesis. I mean, for sure that the deep stuff you do in a cozy way, you take time and so on. But yeah, it's really magical for those daily things also.
Yeah. So sometimes we end up thinking that we have these deep issues that we can't necessarily get at. And then we kind of think our everyday stress is something different. But in logosynthesis terms, we use the same basic procedure for both. But where the difference comes into play is that we need to have that safety from someone to hold some space for us,
Yeah.
that we can actually go there. Because oftentimes, if we're dealing with something that's stressing us out, we don't even want to go there. So we need someone to kind of help us to be in that space so that we can identify what that underlying trigger
Yes.
is and resolve it. Yeah.
Yes, I think see that too. It's that you need somebody to put the light on to get on the basement, and then you feel much comfortable. But there are a lot of situations you need somebody else to hold you. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say is unique about logosynthesis compared to, say, systemic design and some of the other coaching models that you've learned?
I mean, logosynthesis is all about the energy. It's all about energy, and its assumption is that energy is in flow or it is bound. And working with the energy, which is for me a really whole system, is so much more powerful than other methods, which are working more, I would say, with a mental stuff also. So yeah, and with energy, you can if you get those bounds away, then the energy flows again, and you get faster in another mood, in another constitution, I would
Yeah,
say.
and what I like about it is now the research is kind of showing that energy in the form of the mental imagery. So since the pandemic even, there's been a lot of research about mental imagery and mental health issues, mental health disorders, and saying that we need new treatments. But really, a mental image is what our stress trigger is, right? It is what's bound. And yeah, so if we can get at that and resolve it, then it doesn't come back.
Yeah, that's it. It's more sustainable.
So we both worked in corporate roles, and we know that when we're busy in our careers, it can be really challenging even to recognize stressful reactive patterns, right? And these
Yes.
patterns are anchored in beliefs. So they're the beliefs that wear us down, that energy keeps us stuck, right? And, for example, the belief that I'm responsible for everything is really common among professional working parents. And oftentimes our life's great, but we feel too busy, we're weighted down by responsibility, and we're pulled in all directions. So can you speak to this a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced with that too, because I can really say it's really tough to recognize those stressful reactive patterns. And I had a lot of beliefs pushing me really into a nearly burnout. And to be honest, I just realized it when my body really said, okay, we cannot go further like that. So it was really my body stopping me. And like, yeah, if you don't have the time, your body gives you the time to think about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I really had, when I then got conscious about my beliefs and solved them, it changed a lot. And I got more calm also in my business. And there were beliefs like, for example, I'm only worth something when I work hard, or it's only success when I work hard. I have to work hard for my money. That was a lot of hard, but also as I believe like I'm not good enough, for example, and that's pushed me so hard forward all the time. And yeah, when I solved that, it was really more lightness there. I don't have that pressure all the time in myself, and that changed really a lot, also in my work.
Yeah, and it's a little bit the feeling of working hard, right? Because I can certainly relate to that, working hard, and all of a sudden, everything keeps coming at you, and you're going, you can only go so hard and so fast to get things done.
Yeah.
And if things keep coming at you, so then it's how do you get flow in that so it doesn't feel so hard. So, and when that bound energy is released, you have more energy to actually focus, don't you? Like you
Yeah.
can focus on what you're doing as opposed to reacting to everything that's coming at you.
Yeah, of course. And what I also learned, for example, is to say no, or to say, okay, I can do this later on or something, so that it's also not that pressure, right? And yeah, there was a lot of how to say it, positive things, yeah, which changed when I yeah, solved those beliefs.
Yeah, and sometimes even like that belief that I can't say no,
Mm,
it's that I have to do it that, but that again is in that moment, it's overriding any choice that you're making. And maybe the person asking you to do something is expecting you to make a choice. They're not expecting you just to say, sure, I'll do it.
mm,
Maybe they're expecting you to pause and think, can I do it or not? And on the flip side, I guess people end up getting used to us saying yes. So of course
mm.
they ask us because we say yes all the time.
Yes,
So
of course. Do you know
there's a
that?
lot of energy
It's
there, isn't
here.
there?
Yes, I'm always saying yes.
So who are they going to ask? The person that always says no or the person that always says yes, the path of least
Yeah.
resistance?
Yeah, and it was also because I thought that people wouldn't like me anymore if I say no, right?
Yep.
It was also behind.
So burnout is a very relevant topic, and some of those beliefs we just talked to lead to burnout, and burnout especially for women in the workplace, but it's defined in ICD-11, which is the International Classification of Diseases, version 11, as follows, and I'm going to read the definition. It's burnout is a syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. And it is characterized by three dimensions: feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, or feelings of negativism and cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. So burnout refers specifically to a phenomena in the occupational context and should not be applied to describe experiences in other areas of life. So that is the definition. And
That's an interesting definition, I would say.
then I think, what is your reaction to that definition, right? Like successfully managed, really, and only in the workplace. But one of the key aspects is energy depletion, and that's what you deal with. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree with the point that it's only in the workplace. Yeah, I believe they're active in all the areas of our lives. And if, for example, you believe that you're only loved if you help, as I did, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and then it's not only in the working place; it's also in private life. And if you then have other beliefs like I have to do everything alone or something else, that can also bring you in a burnout in total. It's not only the working place. And I mean, we're talking also about mental load. We have a lot of roles, especially also as women. So we have to yeah, we have a lot of things, and we have to manage all those things. And if you have then the belief, for example, you have to be perfect and you have a lot of pressure, you can also go into or went into a burnout, I would say. What do you think about that?
I agree with you because we're whole human beings and we come to work as whole human beings. And a lot of the beliefs that we've instilled affect us in all areas of our life. And sometimes what leads to burnout is, maybe the death of a parent or something tragic happening in our life, and that can
Yeah.
kind of snowball. So I understand, the interest to try to contain it to the workplace so that they can address the conditions in the workplace, but without addressing the underlying beliefs, I think, then you know, you can, because some people can go to work calmly and be in the midst of chaos and still feel calm. And other people, that is not the case, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the energy depletion, I would say, yeah, okay. I mean, if the energy is not in the flow, we also know it from the logosynthesis. Then it's really not good enough for us. We're getting ill, we're getting burnout. So yeah, I would say yes to that.
And I guess the one that really kind of I reacted to was successfully managed. Because if I think about the number of people that are doing so many things to successfully manage their stress, so they're going to the gym, they're eating really healthy diets and cooking good meals and, you know, trying to get enough sleep, and they're doing everything that they need to do to successfully manage the stress based on what we know, and yet we don't know how to shift that energy and the underlying beliefs that keep us stuck in those patterns, right? And so a piece of us, a piece of the work, I believe, is to open up to new knowing so that we can understand how we can um, resolve some of this without taking as much energy, because it can take
Yeah.
a lot of energy to manage it. Yeah.
That's so important what you're saying, because I mean then you get stressed because you want to get away the stress, right? I mean, this is really what kind of circle is this?
When you got to rush out the door to go to the spa to get a massage. And I said, now I don't even really need them so much anymore, right? But yeah, or if you're rushing out the door to get to the gym so that you can bike really hard for an hour, are you relieving stress or are you adding stress? So when your energy's in flow, you can just respond more in the moment and do healthy activities
Yeah,
as opposed
yeah,
to
that's it.
rushing
Yeah,
through it all. Yeah.
you can feel yourself more and what are your needs are
Yeah.
also in the moment,
And it's that empowering piece, isn't it?
and it's less this I have to.
Yeah.
It's more I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. So we often think that it's our workplace and the people in our workplace that are responsible for a stress level. And there's definitely an element of that. So if we're walking in
Yeah.
and it's a really toxic culture, that can be very challenging to be in. But we're often not aware of how much power we have to shift how we react in these situations and to resolve the underlying triggers to restore the flow of our energy, so so that the people aren't triggering us. Like if all of a sudden we walk in and the angry customer no longer bothers us, then you know there's something else that's triggering it rather than that person. So the logosynthesis basic procedure offers a beautiful model to guide
Yeah,
this work to resolve the underlying mental imagery. So
yeah, that's it.
how's logosynthesis shifted how you personally view workplace stress?
I mean, I realized more that I have it also in my hand, and it's my responsibility, and also for the others. I mean,
Yeah.
for other people so I have to say that we are responsible for our stress level, and that only we also can say if it's too much or not, and that we really have to go more in this feeling of the now. And yeah, logosynthesis helps there a lot. So this is the one piece, but the other thing, on the other hand, is for me also that we are also responsible to check if the environment, if when we are in a good or we do a lot of things and have a good stress level, but it could also be the environment which is toxic for us. That we realize when it's not good for us at the moment, and also quit, for example, a job, because we know that it's toxic in this field.
Yeah. And so I guess that, as you say that, what kind of sparks for me is that's why it's so important from a organizational standpoint and a leadership standpoint, to learn how to resolve that toxic reactive behavior, which is basically what we're talking about, right? When we're stressed out, we react, we don't respond in the present. And a lot of times it's the tone of voice that becomes toxic, because toxicity in the workplace is, being disrespectful, not having trust, it's non-inclusive, and all of those things are energetic based. They're toxic, and you can tell people as much as you want not to do it, and yet their patterns kind of keep it stuck in a toxic environment, don't they?
We cannot change other people, but we can change how we deal with the stress. And the other thing is that often that when we change us, our stress level and so on, that this has also an effect on the other person. And often it is like that the other person is then reacting in a different way to us because we changed. So this is also, I think, a really nice dynamic.
It's a very powerful point too, because if you're showing up calm and people notice that, then yes, you're so right that they change how they show up as well. And I think, what you're doing from an education standpoint too is important, because it's one thing to coach people one-on-one, but it's also important to educate, because if people don't know, then how do we change it, right? So
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So in logosynthesis terms, we work with memories, beliefs, and fantasies, and at times we have a lot of energy bound in our belief systems. And if I look back at my career of 30 years, I graduated university at a time when, women could do everything. They could now for the first time be presidents of companies, and they could be super moms, and they could be like the wonderful volunteer. And we did do it all. And then I recently listened to a podcast by a millennial mom about research into the belief systems that millennial moms were operating, and it almost sounded like it's what we went through on steroids, right? Because they had all these super moms that were now kind of inspiring them to be super moms and telling them that they could be whatever they wanted, as if all those barriers that we experienced were now gone when they weren't. And so it feels like that's even more intense than in my age cohort. But yet nobody really tells us how the energy of these beliefs, ours and those that we pick up from society, impact our health. They impact our success, because women can't get angry, and women have to, there's certain things people expect from us, right? It impacts our relationships, because we're going, we're pretty intense on things, and it even impacts our wealth. And so it's all aspects that these beliefs, when we're driven by them without really recognizing that we're driven by them, and then they affect us in a way that we don't even really see it. So can you speak to this?
I mean, I think it's a lot of no, there are two sides. I mean, on one hand, it's really positive things to have those great opportunities to have, you can be everything you want, and this can be really empowering. Also, there are also good beliefs in it, right? But on the other hand, it can also make a lot of pressure, because you try to be a super mom, you try to be the best employee ever, you try to be the best partner, and so on. And there's a really big pressure there to be everything, and also to guide yourself through what you really want, with those beliefs maybe in you, out of the society. It's kind of hard sometimes to get them really also in in your consciousness, I would say. And
Yeah.
I also see a lot of clients struggling with those things because the opportunities are so big, but also the expectations from both sides, from the outside, but also from yourself, really often.
Yeah. Yeah. And different people handle it differently because they have different, they've kind of been brought up with different beliefs. So different family systems, different cultural backgrounds, yeah, so to me, the beauty is when we can start to recognize it, we can start to act on it, and also we can start to accept things as they are rather than having to change it all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So can you describe to me each cohort of your clients and what issues they come to you for help with?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't have a really age cohort. My clients are really from 25 to 70. So it's really bright. But what I have in common is that they struggle with their lives, that they have challenges, they get stuck in their life, or they have also things that it's like the situations come in every time in a same way. It's like a loop they are going through, and it feels all really heavy. Even if they have a good life, I would say, and they are coming because they want more lightness, more joy in their life, and yeah, also coming more back to themselves. That's the
Great. Yeah, it is a common theme, isn't it? And it's a good theme to work with. So,
yeah.
so can you offer an example of guiding someone using logosynthesis?
Yeah, for sure. I had a client recently, and she struggled with her job. She just started with it, and she had a colleague which was I would really say, when she told me she was really toxic. It's she works in a social organization with kids, and she was coming to me and telling me that she wants not to be so triggered about this colleague anymore. And yeah, we tried to start, and in the process, she realized that it's not about getting not more triggered about this person. It was more about, okay, standing for herself. She got clear that that the person really goes over her barriers and also over her values. And she realized that this environment is really not good for her, and she decided to quit. But, and there was the but, she was also at a point that she said, I cannot quit. And I was, we going through this with the logosynthesis, and it was also a really strong belief system behind that she is a loser if she goes out. She has to be strong. Has to be strong. She has to help everybody, and also the kids who are there and so on. And we worked on that with logosynthesis. And after that, she was like, okay, I will quit my job. I feel like an Amazon with a double X, and I stand for myself. I will go there and I will quit my job. And she really did it after a week or so. And the interesting thing I think is often that when we really stand for ourselves, they're getting more opportunities. And she quit it, but then the manager comes to her, back to her, and asked her if she would stay. They really want her to stay, but she can change in another team, which was not able before. Which was not possible before. So the situation changed completely after that. It was really amazing.
Wow. Wow. And there's so often that we talk about quitting, and I sometimes look at quitting as it's a reactive behavior. And so it helps to do logosynthesis so that you can do it from a position of presence as opposed to reaction. And sometimes what I notice with people is that maybe you're not quitting in the moment, maybe you're putting things in place. Maybe like it's, and I had the same experience. Like I remember being in a position when our company was bought out and massive layoffs and everything. And I'm like, just give me a package, I'm out of here kind of thing, right? And but using logosynthesis allowed me to shift the energy so that I wasn't making stupid reactive decisions, and I could work through the process better. And yeah, to your point, that
totally.
your example was beautiful for the client.
And she was so clear. In total, I love this clearness after logosynthesis, that people know what's their way. It's so clear, and it's really coming from the inside. It's such a power, such strong impact on the yeah.
And I guess that's one point with the logosynthesis as an energy model. It is based and anchored in the knowledge that we are essence, that we're life energy with a life purpose. And where our energy gets blocked is in these frozen memories, beliefs, and fantasies. And when we shift that energy, we get back in touch with our essence. So when we clear the energy, it's to your point, we are clear about who we are and what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so magic. It's so magic, really.
Well, and as a coach, to me, it's very helpful when you're guiding someone, because oftentimes people can make all kinds of different decisions. So how do you know which one's best? And when it's their decision coming from their essence, to me, that is the best decision at the time.
It is. Yeah. And then magic happens also around.
Yes.
Yes, in this situation.
Wow. So as we wrap up, I'm curious about your message. So we've talked a lot about stress and burnout, and I wonder if you have a message, and I'm kind of looking at two groups. So the first group, a message relating to burnout prevention, is a group that sees that they're struggling with stress and on a path to burnout. What would you say?
I would first say, celebrate good times. Come on. I mean, that's the first thing. That's awareness. Yeah. I mean, that's the first big step that people made. So really celebrate that. And then please look for support, and learn how you can help yourself in the situation. And sometimes, yeah, as I said before, it needs somebody to put the light on, to get into the basement, to feel more comfortable and to feel better. So yeah, look for something for look for help.
Awesome. And the second group, and also an important group, is a group that's strong and invincible, and they don't recognize their reactions or even the possibility that they might be on a path to burnout. So what would you say to them?
I would say that I send out love and a lot of awareness to you. Please be really careful and listen to your body. He will say when you're not on your path, when it's too much. Don't ignore the signs of your body, and get help before it's really too late. Yeah, you don't have to do all alone. You don't have to be strong.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation, Meike.
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Via mail, via mobile, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So what I want, website.
Okay. So I will put the contact info in the comment section on the YouTube and in the podcast.
Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you so much.